Hey guys, welcome back to Texas Cooking Today. On this episode, it's going to be really simple. We're not cooking. I just wanted to teach you something about knives. I didn't want this to be a show where I'm touting this brand or that brand. That's not going to happen here. What I am going to do is I'm going to show you what to look for to find good knives and to not get ripped off, okay? So come over this way. Let's look at some of these knives I've set out. I've got sort of a cross section of knives here that are going to give a good example of pretty much the whole market. And I pulled these knives out on purpose just for that. So I'll tell you what, let's go over here to the cutting board. Let's take a close look at what I have and let's discuss knives. Come on. Let's get on with this simple discussion. Now, when it comes to knives, you're going to hear lots of different people telling you, buy this brand, buy that brand, get German knives, get Japanese knives, this is better, that's better. Okay, let me explain something to you. What's better is what works best for you overall. That's what's better. Okay, and there's ceramic knives. I don't have those out here, and we're not going to discuss those because I kind of see ceramic knives as a whole different cross-section of knives. I'm not convinced they're the way to go, and until I am, I'm not going to even discuss them. But with conventional knives, there's a lot of ways of going, okay? You can choose stainless steel, you can choose carbon steel. You can even choose special steel blends that are designed to be harder and, well, much more sharpenable. You can use stamped metal like this. You can use forged like this. There's a lot of different materials to look at and consider. There are also, well, certain things to avoid, which are, in some cases, sales ploys, but in other cases, they're actually something good. Let me give you an example. Let's take a look at this knife here. If you'll notice on this knife, right here at this edge, there is, it looks like it's cut in a little bit deeper. You can see it right there, okay? So what I have there is a knife that has a hollow ground edge in it. Now, hollow ground means that they used a rotary wheel and ground away at it like this so it has an inside curve to it. The advantage of hollow ground is that down here where the actual edge is, it's much more narrower on the metal and much easier to get extremely sharp. So some knife companies do that. It makes them really nice to sharpen. That is not just a sales ploy, but actually a pretty cool feature. It allows for a thicker blade with a narrower area for the actual cutting edge. Some blades are thick and some are thin. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. Price point does not dictate blade thickness. Here I have a knife that cost well over 3 times as much as this. This is a commercial forged knife. It's designed in the traditional German method, very hard metal, okay, very strong knife. This one is also commercially used, but used as well by a lot of home chefs, and these are the Japanese type knives. The metal is considerably thinner, okay? They have a higher hardness to them, which gives them that ring. And that high-pitched ring is due to the vibration running to it, due to the hardness of that metal. This knife has a very special core on it that allows it to be absolutely ridiculously sharp. And that's what I like in a knife, and that's one of the reasons I chose these. If you want to get a knife like this sharp, you can. I've got this knife almost as sharp as I can get my Japanese knives, all because I know how to sharpen them. But the thing of it is some of the German knives have steel that is so hard to sharpen, it's much easier to get them professionally sharpened, and kind of crazy to try at home because nobody wants to spend 20 or 30 minutes trying to stick an edge on a knife when it should take 30 seconds. I spend about 5 minutes a week sharpening all of my blades, okay? And there's more than just this. So, but these are the heavy use knives right here. This, and this. They go through living hell in my kitchen. They go through a lot of use. And the thing of it is I keep them sharp so it's easy to sharpen them. If you allow a knife to go totally dull, you know, you've done a misjustice to yourself. Carbon steel knives like this. This comes from Canada. They also make another brand called Chicago Cutlery that's a wonderful carbon steel knife, guys. Carbon steel knives are super in the fact that you can get a super sharp edge on them. They're commonly used in places where they're butcher meat. So meat packing plants a lot of times use carbon steel. They're lower cost, fast and easy to sharpen. They get super sharp, and the nice thing about a good blade, in my view, is does it take an edge quickly and easily? These do. These do. Once you get it set up, these do also. Now, that stamped metal, are they worth a darn? Yes. Kirschner makes some that are like that. Forstner definitely does. And they produce knives that are very super duper sharpenable. These companies that do this, the bigger companies, they really know their metals these days, and they're very good. Look at your knives carefully, because some brands are handed. Shoon knives like this here, these are handed, so you need to purchase one of these based on whether you're right-handed or left-handed. Now, if you will look at a Shoon knife, and let me see if I can angle this just right. You see how that handle is offset from the blade itself? It's over to one side more, over to the right side. Well, that's for a right-handed grip. See, it sticks out a little more here. See how it crests? Well, that's for right here where your fingers bend, okay? So that knife was designed to be held a certain way. But also, this design with the blade being offset from the handle allows you to set that handle flat on a cutting surface and make super thin cuts with that blade only about 1/4 inch off the surface and perfectly level. Okay, so this allows for filleting and stuff like that that makes a wonderful knife. Another thing that sold me on those, I have used many different brands of knives, and I can say, folks, that any of your top line knives are great. Something to avoid are those edges that are what they call a forever edge, or an edge that you never sharpen. That's baloney. What it is a bunch of narrow kerfs that are made on a thin piece of metal, and well, they cut through stuff okay, but they do it by sawing rather than by slicing. And it's better to have a nice super sharp edge that slices smoothly through food than a rough edge that saws. So those the ones that are the really cheap sets, avoid them, okay? Just don't get those non-sharpenable knives. Do you want the German knives? Hey, I tell you what, pick out what works for you. But the best thing I can recommend is don't buy a set, buy individual knives. Try some of the smaller ones like this that won't break the bank, and find out what you get from good quality knives one way or the other. You can find out, hey, I really prefer this one better, or I really prefer this one better, and you're going to know why. There's going to be specific reasons. For me, I'm going to be using a variety, because when I'm doing vegetables and heavy duty work, I need that heavy, thick blade that I don't have to worry about torquing on. If I torque or bend this, it's going to snap that blade because it's much more brittle, and I don't want to do that. I want to keep that for specialty cutting, and I don't have to worry about being rough with it. How much money you spend will not dictate quality, but I'm going to say this: the better quality knives, as a general rule, don't come cheap. So guys, there's just some basic information. As far as the handles go, what materials? There's plastic, there's wood, there is paca wood. Now paca wood like this has and this, that is where they've taken wood and they have, under high pressure and heat, forcibly injected plastic into the pores of the wood, making it a combination of plastic and wood. And it is really cool. It's super durable. It requires zero maintenance. Plastic handles require zero maintenance, and the good ones like this are very durable. The blade and how it joins to the handle, that's important. Now, I pulled a couple of these knives out because they really show this particular item. Do you see how that tang, what they call the back of the blade, this right here is called a tang. It goes up into the handle. This one goes all the way through the handle to the back. Frankly, this is the one that's going to really give strong work without ever breaking loose. This is unlikely to break loose because it's riveted twice and it is deep, but it would be more likely for this handle to come out than this. 3 rivets, 2 rivets. Half tang, full tang. So look at those items when you're buying knives. Now, do these have a tang that go all the way up in them? You better believe it. Whenever you're looking at your top end knives, they're all built that way, guys. They have that metal that runs right up into that handle, and that gives it extra long life. These little cuts on the edge, that's called a Granton edge, okay? The advantage of a Granton edge or a Granton knife is that when you cut through food, sometimes that food sticks to your knife. So Granton releases the food because it allows air behind that item, and it's much more likely to just come off of the blade. So that's the purpose behind the Granton edge. These are neat to have, especially slicing vegetables. When your onions or potatoes stick real bad, they won't stick as bad on a knife with a Granton side. Sometimes you'll get a double Granton where they've got 2 rows of these little cuts. This one is a long Granton, commonly used in commercial knives like this one. Granton wonderful. Other wonderful things to look for in a knife: the back of a knife that has metal on it like this. Man, you don't have to worry about your knives getting beat up on the back edge. They become very durable like that. Washability. All right, let me explain something to you. When you've got carbon steel, these things stain, and you're going to have to use those scrub pads to scrub those stains back out. These things rust. You're going to have to use a scrub pad to scrub the rust back out, and then probably you'll have to resharpen it if that rust got into the cutting edge itself. Lots to look at, lots of considerations. Please take this information with you to the store so that you've got some way of looking at knives and understanding exactly what you're actually looking at. Guys, good luck with your knives, and thanks for watching. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate my subscribers so very much, and so I would like to say cheers to you guys, and extra special thank you to you. And folks, if you haven't subscribed, look, great recipes coming out all of the time. Absolutely excellent techniques that I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how to make things happen. So 2 for 1, great show. I appreciate you watching, guys, and please share my videos. Y'all have a good day. Goodbye.